Okay, now we're going to unbox the motor, and I've heard that you might want a second pair of hands for attaching this motor to the grain mill, but we'll see. I'm pretty hard-headed about things, but I definitely don't want to break it, so I might have to call in the reinforcement, my backup, to help me get this on the grain mill once we get started. This is heavy too. I think I mentioned in the beginning that it's 38 pounds. So I was surprised of how heavy this motor is, but Benjamin Drew did inform me that the motor weighs about as much as the mill. So once you get the motor on, it's about an 80-pound piece of equipment. So depending on how heavy it is once I get it all together, I may just go ahead and be mounting it here instead of thinking I'm going to haul it over to the sink to clean it really good whenever I make nut butters. So here again is a packet with the owner's manual. Well, would you look at this? This is just awesome. This is a tool, couple of tools, another Allen wrench, and I'm not sure what this is called. It's some type of a T wrench, and it's Bondus, Bondhus 3/16. Again, made in the USA. That's another thing I love about this company is not only is their product made in the USA, everything that they source for this product is made in the USA. They buy their motors from a company in the USA. I'm not sure who that is. And then they, on site at 1899 Wildwest Company, manufacture the housing for the motor. So supporting several made in the USA products here and USA-based businesses. Very nicely packaged. I guess you can see a lot of packing material here. Very nice. Get that put out of the way there. Yeah, this thing is heavy. I think I am going to need help when I get ready to attach this. Yeah, that is heavy. That is crazy how heavy that is. This is awesome. You figure out how to, I think I told you I've never done a video like this before. I have to figure out how to get things in range of the camera. Get this unwrapped. I don't want to cut this protective packaging. So let's see how we're going to get this out here. Turn it up. This is gorgeous. Of course, everything is powder coated painting to match the mill itself. And if I'm remembering correctly, the warranty does not cover the paint, which to me, that's just I mean, I would hate for the paint to ever start chipping, but it's like what you would have your car painted with. It's very, very durable. I think it's called powder coating. I'm not positive, so don't hold me to that. You know, the pictures on their website are deceiving when you look at their product catalog and you look at this motor, because I was thinking it was probably about that big, and it's about that big. It's huge. It's beautiful. I like small equipment. I don't know. I just kind of always have. And this is another thing. This cord, I was kind of concerned about where I would be able to put this mill in my kitchen. And I called the company. They were very, very helpful. Very, like, they answered the phone. They're in Montana. I'm in Georgia. I could call them. I think it was like 8 o'clock my time. I believe they're 3 hours mountain time. I think they're 3 hours different than me. It was early. Like, I could call, I think they start at 6 a.m. mountain time. So maybe 9 o'clock our time. And the first time I talked to Robin, I think was her name, I had a question. Well, let me back up. Originally, I could not find a video that showed the machine working with the motor. And so I reached out through email to the company and asked them if they had anything. I couldn't find anything on their website, and I couldn't find anything on YouTube. And they got back to me and said, actually, we're quite surprised that we don't have a video that shows the mill in operation with the motor. And so I mentioned Benjamin Drew earlier, and let me give you his YouTube channel. It's his channel, it's just called Benjamin, and if you search at Benjamin Drew 9232, you'll find him. I asked him if he had any videos with the motor attached, and he didn't either. And I think I said this earlier, but he made a video especially to show me his mill using the motor, which I thought was extremely generous. He was instrumental in me making my decision. But back to this cord, I called the company to ask about the length of the cord, because I quickly realized where I wanted to place my mill in my kitchen, I didn't have an outlet. And I was going to need probably at minimum a 4-foot cord. And the person I talked to said, well, I don't know how long the cord is, but you know, it's pretty long. It's probably at least 3 feet long. And I was thinking, that's probably not going to be long enough for what I need to reach the closest outlet. So that, I don't know that it was going to be a deal breaker for me, because I think I would have found somewhere to mount this thing, even if not right in my kitchen. So I called back again a couple of weeks later and said, I really need to know how long that cord is, because I'm getting ready to purchase a piece of furniture to attach it to. I need to know where I can put this furniture. And so she checked with, I guess, you know, whoever's in the motor department, and came back, this cord, and it's very heavy duty. You can see how big that thing is. It's 7 feet long. I was thrilled to know that I could put this thing wherever I wanted to with this heavy duty cord. And it's got a piece spliced in here with a power switch. I didn't know that came with that, so that's a really nice feature on there. So let's finish getting this out of here. If you're not used to lifting heavy things, you're definitely going to want somebody to help you with this. It's very heavy. I would say the 38 pounds that was marked on that box, that 37 and a half of it is in this motor right here. It's a beast. Close up of this motor. There's the specs on it. The hertz, the watts, reducer output. I guess that's what everything I was reading about needing to actually reduce, I'm not sure if it's the watts or the RPMs that it reduces, that makes it not get your grain so overheated. In this area right here, I'm assuming is going to go on here. Again, I haven't read the instructions. I'm assuming it's going to go on there after you take this flywheel and handle off. And I will definitely be looking at the instructions on how to attach this motor. But there's a leg right here that once you get the motor on, you can loosen this bolt and put the leg down, and it will support the weight of the motor so it isn't putting any resistance or pressure on the mill itself. Okay, even as hard-headed as I am about thinking I know how to put things together, because I really am pretty mechanically minded, I'm going to read through these instructions before I attempt to attach this motor. There's not a lot of instructions there, because this thing wasn't cheap. Okay, I've read through the instructions and they don't seem that complicated to me. It does say that you might need a second person to help you when attaching the motor. I'm feeling confident that I can do this. One of the things it says in the beginning is that you have to clamp the grain maker to a work surface. It says by bolting it down. I've got this C-clamp and I'm going to bolt it, leaving it on this board that it came on. I'm going to bolt it right here, scoot it over it in the middle so I can get it bolted in the middle, and see if this will, see if we can clamp it down. These drawers are kind of getting in the way here. Probably should have thought about moving those or taking them out. That's pretty sturdy. I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to take the hopper lid and the hopper guard, I think is what that was called. Set those out of the way. And we're just going to go through these instructions together. Have to take the extension handle off using the Allen wrench that was provided with the mill itself. That was easy enough to put on. I'm sure it'll be easy enough to take off. Let's see, is this the one that came with the, yep, there we go. Just take that off. Hopefully I'm not in the way of you seeing what I'm doing here. Get those loosened. While I'm looking forward to having the motor work for me with this mill, it's kind of sad to take this all off because it's so beautiful, but that's okay. I'm going to be okay with that. And then using the 3/16 L-shaped Allen wrench. So, okay, so this is just another Allen wrench. Let's see. You know, it doesn't say anything about taking this wheel off, but I know that that has to come off to put the motor on. So let me read through these instructions again. Okay, so I really didn't have to take this off. I could have left it attached, and I could have taken the, I just call this a flywheel. It's called a pulley is what they refer to it as. I could have left this on and taken the pulley off completely with this intact. But I've already taken this off. I'll put it back on later, and we'll get this pulley off of here. Again, using the Allen wrench that came with it. I felt, it's not really specific about how to get to this, but I realized this is where the handle attaches. There's gotta be a screw somewhere. So right under here is a little hole with, I'm assuming, a bolt in there. Let's see if I can get that undone. That's in there tight. Let's see. I'm not sure I could do that. Let me try it this way. Put the short end of that in there. Nope. Definitely don't want to scratch this paint up. That would be terrible. Okay, so that Allen wrench is firmly in there. There we go. That loosened it. So now I can probably put it in the long way and get it turned. Okay, so that wasn't too hard. Just kind of cumbersome in this area that you're in to try to get this loosened. Yeah, that's coming out nicely. We'll get this pulley off of here. It's not really a bolt. It's more, I'll show you when I get it out. There we go. Don't want that to fall off. I don't know if you can see. I don't know what that's called. Maybe somebody can help me out. It's threaded. It's like a bolt without a head on it. I don't know if that comes into focus there. I told you I'm new at this, so there we go. I think you can see that. So I'm going to set this over there. I'm not sure if I'll need this Allen wrench again. Go. That came off. Isn't that gorgeous? That is just gorgeous. It says grain maker, made in Montana. That is just beautiful. Okay, then it says to remove the dust cover. This is the dust cover. If you can see this piece over here. I've got it clamped down so I can't turn it. And I'm not sure which Allen wrench I need. I'm going to try the smaller one that they included. Nope, that doesn't fit. There's an even smaller one that came. Oh, this smaller one is the one that came with the motor. And then there's an even smaller one that came with the mill. Excuse me, I'm not used to talking so much. Something just fell out, and I'm not sure where it came from. I think it came from here. Yep, that fits right back in there. Not sure why. Not sure how that goes back in there. From the looks of it, it looks like it fits right. Yep, that's good. Huh, that's interesting. There should be a warning that could fall out. So using this small Allen wrench that came with the mill, I'm going to take the dust cover off. Well, I thought I was going to use that small Allen wrench. Unless I'm doing something wrong, it's not really fitting in there. Try that again. There we go. I just didn't have it seated in there well enough. So that's loosening those bolts. There's one. Just trying to see if it's got, there you go. Even without taking the bolts completely out, once they're loosened, you can see that they slip right through there. So I'm going to put this bolt back in. Okay, so I've got that in place. So I'm guessing this dust cover goes back on. I don't remember reading that far in the instructions. I'm just going to set that out of the way. Okay, loosen the adjustment knob. That's over here where we would adjust from fine to coarse or vice versa. So turning it counterclockwise loosens it. Just want to loosen it to allow the front burr to move freely, and it is moving freely. Okay, place your motor on a flat surface and using the 3/16" T Allen wrench, loosen the screws on the motor flange 1/2 turn and remove the screws on the split collar. So here's where a diagram would come in handy. I think that this is the flange, and if you can see, I mean, this just seems to obviously, I don't know if you can see that. Let me take you closer. So with my limited knowledge, that's the flange and that's the split collar. Just seems kind of obvious to me, but I just feel like a diagram with each of the parts labeled would be very beneficial. And you can see there's these bolts there. There's 4 of them on the flange. And then there's one on this split collar. I need to loosen these 1/2 turn and then take this one out completely. And again, I hope I'm not getting in the way of what you can see here, but we're going to give it a go. So 1/2 turn would be, let's see. There we go. That was scary. That's a 1/2 turn. Half a turn. Half of a turn. Half of a turn on 4 of those, and then we're going to take this bolt out completely. Okay, that was easy enough. Here's where it says you may need to have a second person available to help with this step. This is where we're going to take that split collar and slide it over this area right here. Now I'm thinking this support in the back may need to be loosened up ahead of time. I'm thinking this wrench that came with the grain maker will loosen that. Yeah, there we go. You know, I don't think the instructions say anything about that support leg. Okay, there's nothing in the instructions that talks about this support arm. I'll be giving some constructive feedback to these instructions that come with this. But if you look here, this support arm is attached with one bolt. There's an extra bolt here, and my thought is this bolt needs to come out, and I'm going to do that right now. Just get that loosened up. And once this is at, you know, this angle, this level is, you know, horizontal, but once it's in place, it'll be vertical. And I'm thinking this extra bolt needs to go in that hole. Let's see. There we go. Oh, I didn't have it lined up. And that piece that fell out from here earlier is, the next step is to align the key on the grain maker shaft to the key slot on the grain motor. I'm going to show you the inside of this. So that's the piece that fell out earlier, that they're calling the key. And then inside the shaft of the motor, you can see that notch. That needs to line up with that. So that's going to be our next step. So looking at the shaft, or the area, I'm not sure what it's called, in the flange, and looking at where this key is, I'm going to turn it toward the back. So it looks like that's where it would line up. And fingers crossed that I can easily slip that on there by myself. Look at that. So here's where I'm going to loosen this clamp up, because it's so far forward that I can't get the support leg down. You see that? That's what I was talking about the support leg. And actually, I think I'm going to move it down to these two holes. There's two sets of holes there. And I feel like, find the right Allen wrench, I feel like it would be best supported on the ones furthest to the left there. And actually this, I'm pretty strong. So to me, this wasn't bad at all. Definitely don't want to let it fall too far. We're going to get that. Yeah, a second set of hands would be nice, because I'm trying to get this bolt lined up. Okay, I grabbed a chair so I could sit down and be a little more at eye level. And I found out that this area where these bolts go, I'm going to show you that up close. Hold on a second. Okay, you can see where the bolts go, that there's a lot of room here. And I had this bolt at the top, but you can see, well, that bolt right there. Let's see if I can show you that the actual, well, you can see this is two sets of holes down here, and then there's 2 sets here. You can see how high my screw is there, my bolt, in comparison to where it should be down here. So let's give that another try with the bolt in the right place. You can see right in there is the hole. So no wonder I was struggling so hard. So let's try that again with the bolt moved down to where it should be. So that's pretty sturdy. Let me show you my arm from holding that. I told you I was hard-headed. That might be bruised tomorrow. I hope not. So our next step is to tighten those 4 bolts back down on the flange and put the screw back in the split collar. Tighten the split collar and then retighten all 4 bolts on the flange. Replace the dust cover, insert the hopper safety guard, and then plug it in and give it a test run. So I'm putting the screw back in the flange, not the flange, the split collar. Got it tightened. And then I'm going to tighten the 4 bolts. I think I keep calling it screws, but they're actually bolts. This is interesting, the angle of being able to reach those. Let's see if this Allen wrench will work. Yep, the Allen wrench is the same size as that T-wrench. It's interesting that I'm having difficulty getting the Allen wrench in the last one. I know it's not a different size. There we go. Okay, so that's got those all tightened up. And now we need to put this dust cover back on. If you remember, I left the bolts in there so we can just fit them in there, slide that down, and then tighten those. So this is a little cumbersome to get to back here, but not terrible. We'll get it. I will probably mount it this way with the motor in the back and my bowl here. One of the downsides that Benjamin Drew referenced in one of his videos is that with the motor in place, it kind of limits how your bowl fits under there. I'm okay with that. I'm thinking I'll probably have to find, I don't know, I've got 2 stainless steel bowls that I think will fit nicely under here. So we'll see how that goes. Let's get it plugged in and see what happens here. I am going to go ahead and turn it on. It's turning freely, so let's see. But that's pretty much whole grain coming out there. So obviously needs to be tightened some more. I don't know if you heard it, but it sounded like it stopped before I actually turned it off. And it's still got kind of a cracked grain look, but not as much as I would do, say, for like cream of wheat. So 3 more clicks. Let's see if it still turns. Oh, there it went. Okay, that's starting to look more like a cracked wheat with a little bit of flour in it. Yeah, I would use this for cream of wheat. Getting there a little closer. 3 more clicks. See if I can show you after all of that. That's probably more in line with what I would do for cream of wheat. 4 more clicks. Oh, it's starting to look beautiful. This is gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. Can you see that? It's getting closer. It's still not exactly where I would want it. This is just beautiful stuff. Can you see that? My lighting is not the best in here. That's pretty darn close, if not even finer than what I've been getting with my Mock Mill 200. I'm going to bring you in closer to show you how it's coming out. I'm going to tighten it just, oh, I guess that's as tight as it'll go. It doesn't turn anymore. So I am very, very pleased with that. I would venture to say that if I sifted that for pizza, I wouldn't get much out of it. So let's get this turned back on and I'll show you the flour coming out. So it took about 2 minutes to mill this flour, and I would say, gosh, might be about 3 or 4 cups in there, and it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. I don't think I would even sift that for making pizza. Well, thanks for joining me on this journey of unboxing and assembling the Grainmaker 99 with the motor. Overall, I think it was a relatively easy project with beautiful results. You saw the flour there. I've enjoyed it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today.